Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I have part 2 of my completed pictures collection from my Johanna Basford books. And today we have Small Victories, Johanna's Christmas, Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, and Worlds of Wonder. So let's start in the order in which they have been released. If you missed part 1, I will put a link in the description below so you can check out also the other books in my Johanna collection, which were Secret Garden, Enchanted Forest, Lost Ocean, and Magical Jungle. All right, so I have the German edition of Johanna's Christmas. The paper in this edition is really nice. It's completely white, which is a difference. So not cream colored or ivory or something, but completely white. So let's see, what do we have here? The polar bear. I really like that one. It's already quite old, but I still love it. I colored the foreground with my polychromos pencils, and the background was done with soft pastels. I think the polar lights turned out okay. And this one I did for a one color challenge, so it's really only one polychromos pencil that I used for all the shading. I think it looks cool. I don't know if I would have otherwise done this picture, but like that it was really quick and not so stressful. This is what you sometimes need, especially right before Christmas, right? I love that one. That's done with markers, water-based markers. I don't know, probably my Sakura pens, and maybe my did I have the Pit Artist pens at that time? I don't remember. Yeah, but water-based brush markers definitely. And I really like the limited color combination and how everything works together. I think it doesn't even need a background. It's so vibrant and crisp with the white background. Really nice. One was also done with markers. That was definitely my Pit Artist pens. That's a much newer page. I also like the color combination. Very different, but still kind of Christmassy. And this one is super bright. That's an older page. And I did it with a mix of water-based and alcohol-based markers. I only had a handful of Copic markers at the time, and I used them on the page because I was so happy to finally have a single-sided book where I would not ruin another motif on the back of the page. I think it's pretty cool, yeah, even especially with the black background. It's really popping. I like it. This one is also older, but I still like it. I did everything in pink, and then I thought, okay, I could make the tune "I'm Dreaming of a Pink Christmas" that would fit. So I added all the little notes. And the writing is in metallic. I think it was a gel pen that I had. I don't remember. It's nice. And that little guy is also done with a mix of alcohol-based and water-based markers. I like it a lot. He's so cute. I was not sure at the beginning when it was not colored if I even liked him. But when I started coloring and I turned this one really into a Christmas sweater, and I realized that he was singing, then really, then it was too cute. This one was done with Inktense And then I blacked out some areas, some of the lines on the outside, and others I made gold with a golden Posca. I think that's a really cool effect. And I was also not too much work. This one was a lot of work. It's also an older page, and I remember I was really proud how I did the shine from the fireplace and all the different boxes and everything. I did everything with pencils, with polychromos, and then I did the floor and the walls with soft pastels, and I turned those into curtains, and I colored it with a marker in a dark red. It would look like a deep red curtain. I still like that one a lot. This one is a newer page, and it's colored as a basis, I think, with my Fit Artist pens. Definitely the outside here is a dark brown, and then I went over that with my polychromos pencil, so I added more texture here so it would look like wood, and a bit more shading and details. And all the ornaments I did with the golden Posca pen. I think that works really nicely. Love that page. This one is an older page, and it's entirely colored with polychromos pencils, and I added all the snow with a white gel pen, and I still love that page. It's quite old, but I think it's really pretty. I was really proud how I did the birds and made them a little bit fluffy. Very pretty page. Oops. Oh, it's coming apart. This one was a color along I did not last year, maybe the year before, with my mom, based on a limited color palette from the Color Cube, actually. And I think it turned out really nice. I think this is also one of the pages that didn't need a background. Yeah, you have those bold, Christmassy colors, and that works really well with a white background. Yay! This one was my very first coloring video ever. I will link it in the description. I did it, I think, 3 or 4 years ago for Passionista Colorista. Isabel, she did an advent calendar. So she would release for every day of December a video on her YouTube channel where somebody colored something for Christmas. And I was part of that advent calendar and had no clue how to record a video. So thank you, Isabel, back then for helping me out and giving me some tips on how to do it. So if you want to have a look, I did the background with watercolor, and then everything else was colored with Inktense. And I had a lot of fun. And then I decided I wanted to do the opposite page kind of matching. I wanted to have the objects in similar colors as I had here, but I wanted to have this turquoisey bluey background as a contrast, and I think it really worked. So, yeah, so I like that one as well. It's the same watercolor background and Inktense in the foreground, and I think they go well together, and they're also both really pretty. And that was it for Johanna's Christmas. Next we have Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. Now this was for a long time my favorite book by Johanna, and I have colored quite a bit in it. I even did the title page with polychromos. I rarely do that, But I was looking for a mini in-between project, and I did the title page. This was done by my other sister-in-law. Yeah, and those two, oops, and this book is really difficult. It's so huge. Yeah, I did this page first. I think with my color soft pencils. From the colors, I can see it's not polychromos. And I think this page as well, yeah, then later on. And I think they go really well together. Did this one as a color along with my mom. And yeah, then decided I would pick up some of the colors for the page next to it, and then just change some things, add the gold colors. Yeah, so it would fit together. And this page is colored entirely with Neocolor tools. I really like that one. It turned out cool. Some white Posca to outline some of the flowers. Very pretty. This one was also a color along. My mom and my cousin and myself did it. And I did also a challenge because my son picked a handful of pencils that he thought I should use for the page. And it was mainly purple, pinks, and turquoises. Yeah, and that is what I did out of it. I think it's really nice. I like the limited palette that it has, and the little bee is really popping out of the page. So it was a mix of pencils, so from polychromos, color softs, all types of pencils that my son has picked from my collection. I did these two pages more or less together, and they were done entirely with Inktense. Yeah, and I went over the Inktense with my polychromos. Some further detailing. I really like the two pages, and I like how they work together, like the day and night page. You can see the book is also coming apart. I think that's a common phenomenon for this book because it's so huge. Yeah, this page was also done completely with Neocolor tools and white Posca for outlining. I think it's really nice. The green does not come across really well on camera, I have to say. Some colors you just cannot record. Yeah, those two pages I really love. I did this page with polychromos pencils, and I used some color soft pencils for the background because they have this super nice muted red violet, and I used it here as well. Same foreground with polychromos and the background with the color softs, and I really like the soft palette that I have here. Oops. Yeah, this page is also colored. I don't know if it's not really colorful, but what I did, that's what I'm putting it near here. I added a lot of details with black fine liner. So maybe if you have that picture and you have a look at it, I added quite a bit of additional lines and shading and whatever. And then I went in with a sepia colored Inktense, just taking the ink from the pencil tip directly and shading everything with ink. So it's really inky. Yeah, that one I also love. That was a color along with my mom and my son. And I actually was inspired by the colors that my son had picked for his picture, like this blue roof and also other different things here, like the green curtain. And I kind of followed his ideas for the color palette. And it was colored with a mix of pencils, mainly polychromos, but I also got some open stock Caran d'Ache luminance and Pablo pencils, and they were also used in this picture. And I think the background is done with Neocolored 2s, is it? Yeah, and some pencil work over the top. This is, I think, the newest picture that I have. I think I had showed it in the autumn collection for inspiration. I colored it in autumn and I was really inspired to do all the different uh, colorful leaves and the golden elements on the house, and then as a contrast the blue on the water. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. I think it's really perfect. All done with polychromos pencils, and for this soft background that you can see here, I used Neocolor crayons, just very watered down, directly taken from the tip of the crayon. Here's another easy mandala that I did with markers. One I also like with the limited palette. It's colored with polychromos pencils mainly, yeah. I'm not sure. I think for the background I might have used some watercolor as a basing, but I'm not completely sure. But definitely the foreground is done with polychromos pencils, and a lot of white Posca for the shiny elements. And this one I colored with my Colorsoft pencils. I think this is also really cool, with the contrast from the fiery dragons below to the clear purple sky in the top. And this one was something that my son asked me to do. I think I would not have picked the page. But then I was really happy with how it turned out with the orangey background. So it looks kind of fiery and burning, and the color palette really goes well together. I saw sometime that somebody has colored that picture after my after mine. I don't remember. That was long before I had my channel. That's really cool. Yeah, this one I did when I had my Colorsoft pencils very newly, and I went for the soft colors that they have in that palette for the sky pages. And I did this cloudy background for the bee. I like this double page. This one I started together with my son. He has his own copy of Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, actually in German, so he could read the text. And we were coloring this one together, like one bee at a time. And I'm almost done. I could just easily complete it at some point. Just some bee's wings here, and the butterfly is left to do. Almost complete, but I haven't colored in it for years. Yeah, interesting. This one was done entirely with Inktense, and I like the fall palette that I used. This page actually I have colored completely, but not in this book. This one was part of the collaboration book that Johanna has created when she sent out individual pages to different colorists, and we sent them back in color, and I colored these 2 pages for the book. So she has a video when she did a flip through of the completed book when all the pages had come back to her, and then you can see my pages. I was really proud. I really liked how that they turned out, but I cannot show them to you now. This one was colored entirely with Neo colors and some gold and turquoise metallic Posca pens. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. And this one was done all with markers. That was a lot of work. I like how I did all the crystals and the gold. That worked really well with the markers. I'm not so happy with the background. It's a bit messy. Maybe that there a different medium would have been good. But the foreground is really nice. Everything with the markers. Very cool. This one was the very first family color along that we did back during COVID times when we were in the first lockdown. We decided, my mom and my cousin and the 2 kids, so my son and my niece, that we would color together this picture. Although we were not able to be together, we would color the same picture. And that was really nice. And we did quite a number of those color alongs back at that time. This was the first one. So cute. This one, I first did the rainbow colors behind this golden swirl, and I really liked it. It was very delicate and so on. And then I started, for some reason, I thought it would be good to have a black background. And then I did a ton of work, and I think I still liked it better without the black background. But it's okay. I think I made it work with all types of media that I threw at the page. This one is shaded only with a black pencil, and then as a contrast here, the butterflies are colorful, and I used only a very cheap set of 12 pencils, or maybe only 10 pencils, that I bought at the airport some time ago. Yeah, but I really had fun, and I like the palette that I used. This one was done with my Colorsoft pencils, and I added some details to little Ivy's face because I wanted to make her a little bit more expressive, and I added also some hair. I really like how this one turned out. I like the palette with the bronze gold and her freckles. It's really nice. And here I used the palette that I had used earlier. I don't know if you remember. Here I decided to use the same palette again because I liked it so much. So again, it's a mixture of polychromos and Colorsoft pencils. I just love this muted rose background. And no, there's another one. It was also a family color along. And it's done with polychromos pencils. And that was it for Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. Now we come to Worlds of Wonder. Let's see what I have here. This one was also a family color along with my mom, my sister-in-law, my son, yeah, and we all did this sweets card, and I really like how it turned out. My son did one that was really impressive with a lot of um, background and all the details, and I was really impressed with what he did. And this one was colored with Prismacolor pencils. This one I also love. Was a color along with my mom, and I used my Derwent drawing pencils. That's why it has such a limited palette, and I think it works really well for the motif. I love it. Yeah, and this one I also love. It's so cool. That was also a color along with my mom and I think with my cousin. And I think it turned out pretty cool. I also used kind of a limited color palette, as you can see, but it's very bright and vibrant. I love all the light effects. It's all polychromos, even the background. And this one I did with my Arteza pencil. That was also a limited palette. We did a color along. My mom, my cousin, my sister-in-law, and myself, and I picked the pencils for the limited color palette. And I think it worked out pretty nice. I like how I did the flowers. They're really cool. Oops. And this is based on a book, which is from the Mirror Visitor series. This is the Arc of Babel. So the world there is split up in different arcs, and this one is called Babel, and it has like a huge university, and they are using flying trams to go around. I thought it would match, so I added some details. So the larger tower and this thing here. So I changed it up a little bit. I really like how it turned out. It's all colored with polychromos pencils and neo colors for the background. And this one I colored together with my mom, and hers is kind of the day version of the tree. I used Inktense and some Colorsoft pencils over the top. I really like how this one turned out. And this one was also a color along with a limited color palette with my mom and my cousin. And I think they all turned out really nice. And I'm really happy with what I did with the fish, with the golden lower part and the blue upper part. It really works well. That's just a little mandala that I did with some fine liners. This one is a quite recent page. There is a color along for it on my channel. So if you would like to know more details, I will put a link to the color along in the description. This one I also did as a color along with my mom, and I think we both did it with our Staedtler Ergosoft pencils. And I think it's really, really pretty. And I knew I wanted to do a pencil background, but I wanted to do not the entire page. I was too lazy, so I just added this shape and just did the background there. Which is kind of effective, I think. Yeah, this one I also love. It's all polychromos pencils. Only the black here is, I think, a black fine liner or something. I like the opposite up and down with the background and the foreground switched. Works pretty nice. That is, I think, the newest page I have in this book. I did it end of last year. And that was also a color along with my mom and my cousin. And I had really a lot of fun. It's entirely colored with polychromos pencils. I wanted to do a quicker background originally, but then I kind of started here with the light effects, with my polychromos, and then I kind of was stuck with the pencils, and I just finished it completely with pencils. I'm too lazy to do that because it's so much work. This is a work in progress. I want to come back to that one point in time. I have a vision what I want to do with that. I don't know why I stopped it. I think I had really not a lot of time at this point, and I got kind of stuck. Yeah. All right. So before we come to small victories, I almost forgot I have another Johanna Basford book. And it's Flourish. It's self-printed. It's this downloadable book that she provided during the COVID crisis for free. And I had mine printed and spiral bound at a copy shop. And I colored a couple of pictures in there. So first of all, the title page, completely colored with polychromos pencils. Then I did this page. I think it's also in Worlds of Wonder, but I only colored it here. It's all done with polychromos pencils. I was kind of struggling a bit with blending the background because the paper from the copy shop is a bit smooth. Didn't have enough tooth really for all the blending that was required. But overall, I really like it. I like that I turn it into a winter scene. And the contrast of the colors above and below the sea level. And I did this page, which is also in World of Wonder, completely with polychromos pencils. So the last one and this one were also family color-alongs. Let me see. Ah yeah, I have another one. This one was done with markers, just very basic and relaxing block coloring. I had a lot of fun with that one. And I think that was it from Flourish. And now we come to my latest coloring book by Johanna Basford. And although it's small, it's probably the one which has the most colored pictures, because since it has come out, I have colored in it all the time, yeah, in between all the larger projects that I have, just a little bit of mindless coloring in between. And I also only use my Staedtler Ergosoft pencils for the book, which makes it even easier because I don't have to decide on the medium. I have a small limited color palette and I just go with that. All right. So I will just flip through. This is the latest picture I have. I have never shared that before yet. There's not so much to say about the mediums. It's really always only the Staedtler Ergosofts. No gel pens, no Posca, nothing else. Also new. So I think if I ever complete a book, it's probably going to be this one, because I'm really making very quick progress. And I just enjoy working in it. That was it for small victories. So if you want to have updates on my progress in this book, just check my monthly colored pages videos, because I will have updates every month. I'm continuously coloring in this book. All right, so these were all my Johanna Basford books. I hope you enjoyed going through the books with me. I had a lot of fun. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.